Hello Cyberpunk 2077 fans, this is a 2.0 Phantom Liberty update tutorial on how to upgrade and craft weapons. Alright, let's get to it. Before starting to talk about weapons, you need to know that all kinds of clothes are no longer upgradable, they are now just cosmetics. As shown before you, I have just started a new game with unspent attribute points. I did that to prove to you that you no longer need any spent attribute points to unlock crafting like the case was in older updates. When it comes to upgrading, I'd like to say I'm impressed about how CD Projekt Red made upgrading system in this game easier, because believe me, it was so complicated in older versions of the game, not to mention that it was full of bugs. So here is a quick crafting on my new game without spending any attribute points at all. Simple and easy, all you need is item components for crafting or upgrading, and that's it. Anyways, on this brand new saved game we have our attribute points unspent, and I have already a level 60 saved game with all missions completed, and we are comparing both. Before comparing, first let's know about upgrading and crafting really quickly for those who don't know about them yet. To open upgrading or crafting, open main menu, then hover on inventory. You will see crafting down here, click on it. Now you have entered crafting and upgrading. Up here there are crafting and upgrade menus. Crafting menu is for making a new weapon from the scratch. Meanwhile, upgrade menu is for increasing iconic weapon stats. When you enter upgrade menu, all illegal weapons for upgrading will show up here. Whether you want to craft a weapon or upgrade one, you are going to need item components for the process. And there are 5 types of item components: common tier 1 item component, uncommon tier 2 item component, rare tier 3 item component, epic tier 4 item component, legendary tier 5 item component. The higher tier weapon you want to craft or upgrade, the higher tier of item components you will need to use. So how to obtain item components for crafting or upgrading? You will have to loot weapons during your walkthrough and then disassembling them. By doing so, you will get low tier item components. Also, they can be looted from dead enemies. If you want higher tier item components, you can use lower tier ones to craft higher tier ones depending on what you need for the crafting or upgrading process. You can see tier 2, tier 3, tier 4 and tier 5 item components on the crafting menu right here. But you can loot tier 1 from disassembling weapons, so they are the base item components for crafting other tiers. Let's craft item components here for demonstration. To craft 1 of tier 2, we will need 5 of tier 1. To craft 1 of tier 3, we will need 5 of tier 2. To craft 1 of tier 4, we will need 5 of tier 3. To craft 1 of tier 5, we will need 5 of tier 4. So we will need exactly 625 of tier 1 item components to craft only 1 of tier 5 item components. Please note that in older versions of the game, you could buy item components from weapon shops, but that's no longer possible. So be very wise spending them, as they are harder to obtain now. I highly recommend not crafting any regular weapon at all, just save your item components for upgrading iconic weapons you loot. A trick you can do if you have a lot of cash on you is to buy weapons from shops, then disassemble them for item components. But I recommend looting weapons from dead enemies instead, as you will need money so bad to spend on cyberware as they are so expensive. So what are iconic weapons? They are exclusive weapons that you can loot only once during several missions or from random places. In older versions of the game, you could disassemble iconic weapons, and people were disassembling them by mistake and losing them forever. It happened to me personally. Lucky for us now, CD Projekt Red removed disassembling option from iconic weapons, but don't sell them ever as you won't get them back. Selling option is still available even for iconic weapons if you went to a shop. And that's rational. That's a way of getting rid of an item you don't want, but don't sell them ever as they are very important. So how to distinguish an iconic weapon from a regular one? 3 ways actually. The first way, iconic weapon has this electronic circuit background, however regular weapon doesn't. Second way, as we said, now you cannot disassemble an iconic weapon, but you can do so with a regular one. Third way, now you cannot upgrade a normal weapon at all. That's an exclusive option for iconic weapons only. If you wish to obtain a higher tier regular weapon, your only option is by crafting it right away if you have the blueprint for it. Blueprints can be found randomly in weapon shops. Now let's take a closer look at weapons. There are 5 tiers a weapon can reach. Common tier 1 and it's tagged with a white color. Uncommon tier 2 and it's tagged with a green color. Rare tier 3 and it's tagged with a blue color. Epic tier 4 and it's tagged with a purple color. Legendary tier 5 and it's tagged with an orange color. And for most of iconic weapons, there are a couple of 2 exclusive higher tiers. Legendary tier 5 plus and it's tagged with an orange color. Legendary tier 5 plus plus and it's tagged with an orange color. Now back to comparing. It's time to compare my new saved game with my level 60 saved game in terms of weapon stats. First, I want to compare the state of a weapon when you loot it at early game versus when you loot it at late game. Let's use the Guts shotgun iconic weapon as an example here. On my brand new saved game, I have looted Guts as a common tier 1 weapon. However, when I looted it with my level 60 saved game, it was already legendary tier 5 plus. So the stronger you get, the higher default tier of a weapon will be. Also now weapons don't scale with your level the way they used to be in older updates. That was very confusing, believe me. So I upgraded Guts to max tier 5 plus plus on my brand new saved game. And I did the same on my level 60 saved game. And they have almost the same stats as shown. If there is a slight difference in numbers, that's because of some cyberware I used that changes these stats a little. Alright, let's wrap things up here. Iconic weapons are very important, don't sell them. Don't waste item components on crafting regular weapons, save them for your iconic weapons upgrades. Kill enemies, loot their weapons, and disassemble them for item components you will need for upgrading your iconic weapons. That's it. This was Mightner here. I hope you find this video helpful. See you on another tips and tricks video.